Star Trek admits it. The Enterprise wouldn't have survived without Spock, and here's the reason why. There are many legendary names in Star Trek canon: Kirk, Picard, Janeway, Sisko, but few hold the same weight as Spock. With his pointed ears, logical mindset, and emotional restraint, Spock became more than a character. He became a philosophy, a bridge between extremes, and a living symbol of unity between logic and emotion, Vulcan and human, order and chaos. And though the franchise has long shown Spock as essential, it's only now that Star Trek has made it clear the USS Enterprise would not have survived without him. This revelation may not be a shock to fans who followed Spock's journey since the original series, but its official acknowledgement across Strange New Worlds, Star Trek, Discovery, and even in recent literary canons has finally crystallized what many suspected all along. Spock wasn't just a great officer. He was the reason the Enterprise consistently made it home from the edge of death, madness, and cosmic horror. Here's why Spock was indispensable, and why no crew, no matter how brave or brilliant, could have steered the Enterprise through the stars without him. 1. Logic as the last line of defense. Captain Kirk was renowned for his instinct, Dr. McCoy for his compassion, but Spock brought something no one else on the bridge did: unshakable logic. In the vast, unpredictable cosmos of Star Trek, where godlike beings like Q and Trellin manipulated reality on whims and time itself twisted and fractured, emotion often became a liability. In moments when panic surged through the crew, Spock was the calm anchor. Episodes like the Galileo 7 show this best. When Spock takes command after a shuttle crash, his logical decisions are challenged, mocked, and even resented, but they save lives. He saves his crew not by mimicking human emotion, but by standing against it when necessary. This ability to remove ego and emotion from impossible decisions, like sacrificing one to save many, is precisely what kept the Enterprise from being destroyed in countless situations. Without Spock, many of these high-stakes calls would have spiraled into chaos. Logic wasn't just his philosophy, it was the crew's shield. 2. The science officer who became the ship's brain. Spock wasn't just the science officer, he was the brain of the Enterprise. His unparalleled knowledge of xenobiology, astrophysics, and subspace anomalies often cracked mysteries even the ship's computers couldn't solve. In The Devil in the Dark, it was Spock who realized the Horta was not a monster but a mother defending her eggs. That intellectual leap didn't just save lives, it turned potential genocide into first contact. His intellect wasn't just vast, it was adaptive. He solved puzzles faster than anyone else, often under literal fire. Whether it was deciphering alien languages, disabling planetary defenses, or detecting cloaked ships through radiation trails, Spock brought the thinking power of a dozen officers. In a universe where the wrong calculation could mean destruction by black hole or alien superweapon, Spock was the difference between doom and discovery. Even AI in later generations, like Data or the Sphere Archive, would list Spock's early contributions as foundational in Starfleet science. He wasn't just the ship's brain, he was a pioneering mind whose theories influenced the Federation for centuries. 3. The only one who could truly challenge Kirk. Kirk was a maverick. He bent rules, followed gut feelings, and gambled with impossible odds. Many admired this bravery, but unchecked, that daring could easily veer into recklessness. What made Kirk truly effective was the counterbalance Spock provided. Spock never feared disagreeing with Kirk, even when doing so might lead to confrontation or discomfort. In fact, their dynamic required it. Kirk respected Spock's honesty, even when it conflicted with orders. And on numerous occasions, it was Spock's firm no that stopped Kirk from making a fatal mistake. Think of the Doomsday Machine or the Tholian Web. In both stories, Spock defies expectations and offers uncomfortable truths. He's the devil's advocate, the conscience made of pure logic. And Kirk, to his credit, listens. Without Spock, Kirk may have become a tragic figure, a brilliant tactician undone by hubris. Instead, he became a legend, in part because Spock never let him forget the stakes, the science, or the consequences. 4. The emotional core hidden behind logic. Spock would never admit it out loud, but his dedication to the Enterprise and its crew was deeply emotional. Though Vulcans strive for suppression of emotion, Spock's half-human heritage meant he often felt more deeply than anyone aboard. He just concealed it behind protocol and reason. When he sacrificed himself in the Wrath of Khan, he didn't do it because logic demanded it. He did it because he loved his crew. This duality made him the moral center of the Enterprise. While McCoy argued from passion and Kirk from boldness, Spock stood at the crossroads. He often found the balance between what was smart and what was right. Over time, he evolved, learning from his human crewmates even as he taught them to see beyond their emotions. This growth arc, from rigid logician to someone who embraces identity, ambiguity, and sacrifice, is one of the most human in Star Trek. And it proves that behind Spock's stoic demeanor was someone who would, and did, give everything for his ship. 5. He was the Federation's future in the present. Spock's value wasn't just tactical, it was symbolic. The Federation was an idea built on unity, tolerance, and coexistence. As the child of a Vulcan father and human mother, Spock was the Federation. His very existence proved that compromise and understanding between species were not only possible, they were necessary. He endured prejudice, isolation, and mistrust from both humans and Vulcans, yet he never turned bitter. Instead, he forged a path that others would follow. His future self would go on to become an ambassador, striving for Vulcan-Romulan reunification, and later mentoring new generations of Starfleet officers including Michael Burnham, his adoptive sister. Even in alternate timelines like the Kelvin universe, Spock remains a steady, guiding presence. And while Star Trek has introduced many remarkable hybrids and diplomats since, none have captured the delicate balance of cultural duality like Spock. His presence gave the Enterprise moral authority in the stars. Without him, it might have just been another starship. With him, it became a symbol. 6. The crew needed him, even when they didn't say it. There's a subtle thread running through many TOS episodes and films. Spock isn't always appreciated in the moment. His advice is sometimes dismissed, his choices misunderstood, his demeanor mocked. Yet when he is gone, the void is unmistakable. In Amok Time, when Spock believes he has killed Kirk, we see raw emotions surface. In The Wrath of Khan, when Spock dies saving the ship, even McCoy, his frequent sparring partner, chokes back tears. And in The Search for Spock, the entire crew defies Starfleet, steals the Enterprise, and risks everything to bring him back. That's not just loyalty, it's proof that without Spock, the crew is incomplete. His absence leaves the ship intellectually weaker, emotionally unstable, and strategically vulnerable. Star Trek now openly acknowledges that Spock was the linchpin, not just because of his logic, but because of the intangible bond he formed with the crew over time. 7. Modern Star Trek finally confirms it.